welcome to a special one-hour edition of News Channel 8's broadcast. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's what's happening in our territory. A 42-year-old man may have his charges upgraded to murder, all because he allegedly assaulted his own mother. It's a story that has the entire community in outrage. News Channel 8's Wes Small has the story.
This is a story about the unspeakable. On June 2nd, 42-year-old Herbert Clercent of Lorraine Village here in St. Croix severely beat his own mother, 65-year-old Eucharis Clercent. Now, unfortunately, since then, Miss Clercent has passed away, and perhaps she never recovered from her injuries at Juan Louis Hospital. Meanwhile, Superior Court Judge Donahue has scheduled a 10 a.m. hearing tomorrow morning to see if Mr. Herbert Clercent, who was originally charged of a plea of not guilty, aggravated assault and battery, third-degree assault, and a charge of domestic violence against his own mother, he then faced up to 6 years in prison. Now he could possibly receive a near life sentence because his mother, 65-year-old Eucharis Clercent, died. And possibly, if the doctors could tie that severe beating, then they could tie that in to possibly murder charges. We'll just have to keep you up to date with the prosecutors. Meanwhile, Mr. Clercent remains in jail because he has no third-party custodian, and he has been placed on $25,000 bail, so he is in jail. Crisis counselor Cherise Gumbs. Thank you, Ms. Gumbs, as you share time with us today to talk about domestic violence. Of course, we know that Mr. Clercent is innocent before he is guilty, and so all these are alleged charges against his mother. What's the Women's Coalition, not only on this case, though, understanding it's still an investigation, but on elderly abuse?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of times we don't look at domestic violence between mother and son. So this is a case that's probably caught a lot of people by surprise. But what we feel is that this is something that does need to come to the forefront. Next month, actually, beginning tomorrow, begins Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so we are really concerned that people pay attention to what's going on. This was a case where he allegedly had beaten his mother, and she was in the hospital for a period of time, and now the end result of it is that she has died. And we do sympathize with the family. But this is so real, and it's becoming more apparent that we really need to look at what's going on with domestic violence.
Well, Ms. Gumbs, let me stop you there. Son versus mother, like you said, this is very rare. What can cause a child to raise his hand against his own parent?
The domestic violence across the board, power and control, grow up not really having the perspective that they need to, the way that we're looking at not only our relationships to one another, but communication with one another, respect for others, respect for life, even in terms of respecting your elders, which is something that is nearly becoming a dying art form, a dying mannerism that we should have in the community. All these things come into play. If we respected life and respected one another, we wouldn't feel the need to hit. We would use conflict resolution. We would try to talk. And that goes across the board to all the other crimes that we've been having. On the 25th of September, we had a National Day of Remembrance for murder victims. And it was the same thing. Why aren't we respecting life? Why aren't we respecting each other? And it's showing up, in domestic violence being more prevalent in some ways because it's being exposed more. People are not keeping us silent. Sometimes we feel that we're not really making any dents, but it's coming to the forefront now. It's becoming more apparent in a lot of ways, and this is just one of those ways. But take into consideration the family. The mother is the one that was beaten by the son, but the sisters and the brothers in the family, how do you think they're feeling? And how it affects the entire family circle. And that's a concern. That's a major concern.
What are some of the signs of elderly abuse?
There are a lot of them. They fall through all the financial abuse is probably the one that most people are familiar with. The isolation, where you have one person that controls everything. The physical abuse, of course, is apparent. Them not being able to get the food that they need, not being able to get the care that they need, you know, them being locked in the house, not being able to come out, the things that they're accustomed of doing, they're no longer able to do because somebody else has to help them. The emotional abuse, where they make them feel that they're crazy. They start moving things so that they can put them in a home. Those are different signs that we have of elder abuse.
Wow. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Ms. Sharice Gums. She is a crisis counselor, pinch hitting for Mary Mingus and Clement Lewis. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye. So there you have it, an unspeakable case of a son actually assaulting, allegedly, his own mother. We'll see if these charges are going to be upgraded to murder charges. Here at Rainbow Command in Frederiksted, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.